Hello there, this is Safety Girl from Mama Bear Hacks, and welcome to my video walkthrough of the TryHackMe Room Biblioteca. Let's dive right in. As you can see, I've started my machine and I've given it ample time to start up. Usually 5 to 10 minutes is all you need to make sure all the services have started. For the sake of time, I've already started some of my scanning. I have started using RustScan for all my initial scans after completing the tutorial on TryHackMe for RustScan. I like it because it will give you the initial ports that are open before it goes into its in-map scanning. And so here I can see initially that port 22, which is SSH, and port 8000, which is usually a web server or a web page, are open. And so while it does its in-mapping, I can go ahead immediately, if it was still scanning, and I can go to the website and then I can start my inspection, or I can start trying SQL injections. I can also go here into my terminal. I can also start a Go Buster. You're just going to have to forgive all my beeping and booping. So let me back up here a little bit. I feel like I'm going a little too fast. You gotta forgive me. This is my first video walkthrough. I'm trying to get my bearings. So what we've done here, first of all, to recap, we turned on the machine. We've got an IP address. We've let the box or the machine or the room, however you want to phrase it, run for at least 5 minutes. I prefer usually 10 minutes, but 5 minutes should be fine, unless there's a note from the creator up here. So that gives us time to make sure that the box has its ports open, its services running. Then what you do next is you run to see what ports are open. As I said, I like RustScan. I've switched to RustScan because it can give me the initial ports before it does its in-map scanning. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. And I can start doing some recon on these ports while I'm waiting for my in-map to finish up. Also, now that it's done, I know that there's 2 ports open, like I've already said, and I can do a more complete in-map scan by running in-map-sc-sv, and I can just now specify those 2 ports. Now, SSH is a dead end, especially for CTF. At least medium and easy boxes. So I'm not even going to do any more enumeration on that port. So I'm just going to look at port 8000, and we put in the IP address for the room. And I always like the output flag, so I can always go back to results if I get. This is good for different rooms that have more ports open. You can always go back and double check to make sure you go off a checklist. You know, I've enumerated this port, I've enumerated this port. You knew that? Oh, of course. Oh, right, okay. Pardon me, as I said, it's first room. So there's going to be, I think I'm going to leave in some of these bloopers just because when I was starting out, sometimes I was watching or would watch the experts and get discouraged because they were just doing everything perfect and they were doing everything so quickly, and sometimes you don't, but you can still get your flags. So I think I'm going to leave some of these bloopers in. So I always like to have a TryHackMe folder with a specific room. And then now I can do my, can I just go like that? Yeah, okay. Up arrow to get to this command. And I'm going to save my results in InMap results.txt. While that's running, I can hop over here. And I can start a Go Buster to see if there are any hidden directories. Let's see. You do the U flag for URL, HTTP. Then you put the IP address. I can't read that. Okay, can I read that? And then your word list. And Kali comes. I did you again. Kali comes with an installed word lists. I usually, to start out initially, I use the common.txt that's found under the derb directory. If that doesn't give me any hits, then I usually switch to different word lists. Of course, there's always the sec lists, but I don't have those paths memorized, so I always default to the derb. So it's just user share word lists derb. There's, yeah, and then there's common.txt. All right. Since this is a flag, capture the flag. You can go as fast as you want. You don't have to worry about. Oh, really? Yes, I want to install it. Good times. Okay. Even better times. Just a moment. There we go. Oh, right. So what I did here, you see this? This is a good error to keep in. So right here it says error running GoBuster unable to connect to HTTP It's because it's looking at port 80. It defaults to port 80 unless you specify one. So what you need to do, if you notice that, if you remember, back in our scans, oh, there it's complete. It's actually port 8000. So we need to make sure we have our HTTP in our TryHackMe room IP address, and then we just do colon, then we do colon, and then the port. So you can do 80 or 8080. Sometimes it's on like a crazy high port number, but then that should give us what we want. There we go. See, now it's running, and you can see it's progressing nicely. It's going very quickly through. We've got to log in, we've got to log out, we've got to register. So those are some great leads. All right, and also our InMap scan has returned because we knew from our Rust scan that it's open and it's an HTTP, but here we did a more thorough scan and we can see it's open. We can see the version workzig, what version of it. We see that there's a Python associated with that. That's good to know because once we get our initial access, that means we can run Python 3 code specifically. That can be very helpful for lateral or vertical movement. So we've got those things. So before we do anything else, before we go anywhere else, we need to take a moment and stop and take notes. Now, yes, this is a CTF, and yes, if you're just a burn through it and get the flag, that's fine. But if you have any, I would recommend taking notes if you can't perhaps finish a room in a day. Maybe you have only a lunch hour to work on different rooms, and so you need to take notes. If you are ever in a work situation, you're going to need to be able to replicate what you have found, and so you'll want your notes for that. There's a variety of different reasons. You don't have to take notes. Strongly recommend you take notes. I like to, since I have Kali installed, I like to just come here and just start the cherry tree. Start it up. It's a nice little way to organize. You can even try to start organizing it to the kill chain if you want, so you can also start here at recon. I always try to do that. It always kind of breaks down at the end. Usually everything starts snowballing and I'm like, oh right, I gotta take a note here, practice taking notes. So again, it doesn't have to be overly complicated. We can always put in map results with we already have it in the text file, but you can just take a screenshot if you want. You can do a copy paste if you want. Whoops. There, you got it right there. And then that way you know the commands you wrote and what output you got. Same thing. Sorry, I did that a little. So you can always put your input node here. You can do it here. If I can spell. All right. All right, and then let's see here. Do another one for Go Buster. Oops. Let's see if I can move that in. All right, there we go. Nope. There we go. All right, let's leave it like that. So Go Buster. Go over here. Again, we'll just do a copy paste. Make sure you get what command you did to get it to results. All right. So we also know that there's no like robots.txt. I didn't do TXT extension on my GoBuster, but all right. So we got a little recon done, and we can also go just let's see if I can spell okay. I'll just put website. All right, so we'll see what we find on our website. So here we go. We have just a straight login page. So login, username, password, sign in. Don't have an account, sign up here. You can even see down there it says register. And if you probably hit sign in, that will probably give us to our, so there's your register, and this is probably the login, and then there'll be a log out if you ever successfully log in. All right. What I like to do when I have, there's two ways you could do this. Well, I guess three. You can inspect your element just to make sure that there's no like passwords in the comments. Just look around here. All right, there's no comments with passwords. Make sure there's no sort of cookie. There's no sort of cookie. All right. So we've done that. We can also do, I mentioned robot.txt and my GoBuster. I didn't look for PHP files or text files. So you can always just manually type it in. Nothing there. That's fine. Okay, this is just the beginning of your enumeration. What I did when I got this, when I first worked on this room, I immediately went to sign up here. This is register. All right, so I'm going to register and see what happens. Password 1 2 3 4. Enter your email. Girl. And I always like to put a little fake email. All right. Sign up. Don't save. All right. You have successfully registered. All right. So let's sign in here. And there I am. Hey, there I am. Hey, safety girl. But that's all. There's nothing much to it. It's not like it's a secret WordPress site that you can upload your PHP reverse shell in or anything. So it is pretty stripped down. And you hit log out. There's our log out that we saw. And there we go, back into the login. All right, so what do we do now? And remember, it says hit them with the classics. All right, so, well, what is the OWASP top 10? Which is the first thing that pops in your mind? Of course, well, hopefully, of course, I say that, but hopefully it will pop in your head SQL injection. Now, I have a bad problem of blinking sometimes and just not thinking of things. So if you need to go to OWASP and look up the top 10 and see what is actually in the top 10, or take time to memorize the top 10, and then that just be part of your enumeration, right? So you go over, to your cherry tree, right? So see, no robots dot text, no comments. Let's see, registered user, but nothing once signed in, right? And then, so you've done some initial steps, and then your pattern could be that you just start hitting the OWASP top 10. Now I know, so, oh, that's great, good. Okay, so the easiest thing to do is just to put admin to see if you can get an admin account. You can try admin, right? Default credentials, I think it is. Right? Incorrect username, password. That's fine. Right? What else is there? There is SQL injection. So you do admin, and you have to try both the username and password, right? So you would have to do admin, and you do your end quote, or 1 equals 1, I think a semicolon, and of course you have to enter a password, perhaps, and then you would do and if this didn't work, you would do it on the other one. So you would put admin, and then down here you would put like a end quote, or 1 equals 1 equals semicolon. So let's try this one first. Well, we got a change here. All right. It says, hi, Smokey. That's not me. I'm Safety Girl. So we have definitely got some sort of access here. We are definitely looking at some SQL injection. Make sure this is no secret messages to Smokey. There is not. All right. So what can we do with this information? Well, one, immediately we need to put in our notes, found username Smokey. Excellent. Good. So we've got that. Now, there are two paths we can take here. There's an easy way and a hard way. And I laughed because the first time I did this, I did it the hard way. But that's okay. For time's sake, I am going to show you the easy way. I do plan on putting in my manual blind injection to how I got Smokey's password. But for time's sake, that's going to have to be a different video. So as soon as we know that we have a SQL vulnerability, SQL injection vulnerability, we have a vulnerable, I feel like Constantine in Muppets Most Wanted. Okay, so now that we can have a password bypass, I'll just put it that way, we can use SQL Map. All right, SQL Map is a tool that can scan websites, web pages for vulnerable injections. Right, so we start out with SQL Map, and then you need to put the U flag and put in the IP address of the machine, of your machine. It's going to be different than mine. Don't forget it's a different port, so you need to specify port 8000. And then you just do -- forms. All right, and you let that run. Oh, there you go. Okay. I may or may not edit this part out, so we'll see. Do you want to test this form? Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Edit, post dated. Nope. It says you've left fields blank, but that's okay. It'll take care of you. Do you want to fill in blank fields with random values? Yes, that's what I'm hiring you for. Okay, there you go. So it's trying all the different databases, right? Is it SQL? Is it Oracle? Is it, right, Microsoft? Oh, right, here we go. So, username appears to be MySQL. And it gives you a version number. It appears to be injectionable. Yep. All right, looks like the backend database right here. Backend database is MySQL. Excellent. Whoops. Do I want to skip? Yes, I don't need to test everything else. All right, for the remaining tests, do you want to include all tests? Wait. For the remaining tests, do you want to include all tests for MySQL extending provided level? Yeah, sure. As you can see, it walks you. SQL Map is really user-friendly. It'll give you, you see how the Y is capitalized? So it'll say, you kind of want to do this one. Now, you don't always have to agree with it, but yeah. Okay, so username is injectable. Username is vulnerable. Do you want to keep testing the others? We could test password, but we already have a way in, so I'm going to put no. All right, there we go. And as I said, we can see here, here is the payload that it used to find the injection. All right. Do you want to exploit this SQL injection? Of course I do. Okay, so there we go. So how do we exploit it, right? So they've given us all this information, and what do we do now? So again, we run SQL map, and we can just up arrow because we'll want the URL flag, we'll want the forms flag. So now we'll want to put which database it is, and that's the DBMS, right? And that's MySQL. And we want to list the tables, so we do -- tables. And it'll remember a lot of stuff from last time, right? So again, they'll like, is this what you want to test? This form? Are you okay with blank fields? Are you okay with random values? Yes, yes, yes. All right, and there we go. And they're like, hey, yeah, we know this. So yes, we want to exploit this. So you hit yes. All right, and this right here we go. And these are our tables. So this is in the database. It's a MySQL database, but it has different databases, and each databases have different tables. So it looks like there's 2 different databases in the MySQL for this web server. You've got the information schema, and then down here, you've got the website database, which has conveniently a users table. So in order to dump the information from the users table, instead of, this is our command we just ran, instead of -- tables, right, you do a -T, and you type in your table name, which is users, and we just want to do -- dump, and that's just going to dump everything. Oops, except I did a slash. That's not going to like that. Control-C. All right, let's get rid of that slash that we don't need, and here we go. Again, it'll start us from the beginning. It'll say, do you want to test this form? Do you want blank fields? Yes. Yes. And then they'll find the vulnerable. It'll find the injection. All right, there we go. And boom. Here we go. So there are the users. Interesting, only 2 users. That's all right. So we have Smokey here, and that's his password. And we have me, who I registered when you saw me register earlier. All right, excellent. So we can go over here to our notes and found MySQL database. And then we have Smokey, and what's his password here? His super secret password. There. So now we have credentials. What do we do with credentials, right? Well, remember, we've already logged into this website as Smokey, and it didn't give us anything. So where else can we log in at? What else takes credentials? Right, so go back to our IMAP scan. Remember, we have SSH, port 22. So we can, let's try it, right? So let's go SSH, Smokey. And all right, put your IP address for the room right here. Of course, it's right here. This is the machine you're attacking's IP address. Okay, so let's see what happens. All right, so password. I think I still have it in my buffer here. Nope, I do not. Okay, so, and another nice reason to have notes is just don't have to remember other people's passwords. And there we go. Boom. We are smoky. That's great. All right. So let's start our enumeration, right? So I always like to start off with the classic sudo-l. Password, no problem. I know the password. Sorry. User Smokey may not run sudo in Biblioteca. Okay, that's fine. We got other means, right? So let's see what we can find. Let's see. I'm going to find any SUID. I'm going to search to see if there's any SUID permissions on vulnerable files. All right, there we go. So, yes, you could always get linps on here and run. Oops, I did this wrong. I forgot my 2div. I remember my 2div. No. It seems like a lot of output for that. Okay. So you could run linps and have it do this for you, which is fine. I've gotten in the habit of doing it myself and using linps if I get to a roadblock, just because I don't have a system administrator background. I'm a programmer by trade, or my background is in programming, and so it helps me start recognizing some files, right? So like here, any of these snap ones, not going to be it. I'm going to be looking mostly at the user bins. You start understanding just by looking at it what's going to work or not, just out of time under keyboard, right? Because to see if anything is abusable, you go to the GTFO bins. I guess that's for get the fudge out bins. And then you can do your SUID, and there you go, right? And then you can just start looking up the results you found, right? Because we have sudo. You go here. I had to pick one down. All right. And, well, there's no sudo here, right? And if you look through all of these, they're actually, none of these are going to be SU, password, mount, umount, pk exec. None of these, if their SUID bit is enabled, are going to be something that you can use for privilege escalation. All right. So, what do you do now? Okay. Well, let's see here. Let's LSLA. Sometimes you have a bash history that isn't put to trash and you can get information out of there. But nope, bash history is going straight to trash. So is MySQL history. Sometimes the creator gives you a hint, sudo as admin successful. So that's interesting. So that is good. All right, you can also do your etc contab. Oh, I forgot. I need to cat it. Huh. DC contab. Oh, come on, really? I have done this box before, and I do know how to do Linux commands, even though it looks like it's not. Okay, so there's nothing in cron tab. That's fine. That's okay. So let's go up and see if there's any other users on the system. All right, there we go. Hey, Look at that. There's a Hazel. Well, let's see what's up with Hazel then. Huh. Well, she's got a user doc text. Oh, but we can't do it unless we are Hazel. Oh, look, she's got some sort of Python program. Very interesting. How do you get to Hazel? Okay, so another thing I like to do is I like to see if there are any files that Hazel has written or done or something in the system. Somewhere in maybe a backups, like a var backups or an opt. So we'll sit here and no, there's nothing. We got bash logout, right? We've got vim info, we got profile, standard setup things. So that's kind of a dead end. So I do have to admit, the first time I did this, I was kind of hit a roadblock, but I remembered over here, there's a hint button. TryHackMe, learning platform. Give yourself 5-10 minutes. If you hit a wall, hit the hint. But give yourself some time to try to break through that wall. So let's hit the hint. Weak password. Well, you know, Smokey's password was kind of weak, but what about Hazel's? Could Hazel's be weak also? So let's see here. We do switch user, Hazel, and let's see, we'll try like password. Nothing. Switch Hazel, okay. So this is the part where I'm going to say, hey, pause the video. I'm going to give you the answer if you can't get it. Give yourself 5 minutes. Think of all the weak passwords you can think of. All right, pause it now. Okay, welcome back. Have you tried it? Did you get it? Now, I did get this. Creator of the box. And at first I was like, that's their explanation. I don't think I like that. Why? But on the Discord, they used this password is because that is, they said it was basic enumeration and that they have come across this scenario in other CTFs and in real life scenarios. I used to say I always wanted a hint on the box to practice searching. But after reading their explanation, I get it better because I'm assuming in real life you're not going to have a file that says, here's my password. Sometimes you will, but most of the times you probably won't. Same thing with the password here. So anyway, so you switch user to Hazel. And the password is her name, Hazel. And there you are. You're Hazel. It's a weak password. I will, from now on, always try this. This will be one of my key things. As I said, you know, you just start getting your rhythm and you're like, okay, I always run GoBuster. I always look for robots.txt. I always look for comments. You know, once you're here on the machine, I always run sudo-l. I always look for this SUID bit. If there's another user, I'm going to try to log in with the password as their name. That is just going to be one of my first steps of enumeration. So, okay, so now we're Hazel, right? So now, let's see here. So let's start it again. We're a new user. Don't forget, start from the beginning. Let's see if she can run sudo. Oh, hey, what have we here? All right. Hazel may run the following commands on Biblioteca. Set environment, that's the set in, no password. user bin python 3 home hazel hasher.py. Okay, so this means this means we can't go like hasher.py and temp and run python 3 on it. They've hard coded the path. Okay, so there's not much we can do, because if we do our LSLA, we can only read hasher.py as Hazel. We cannot write to it. So we can't move it. We can't adjust it. We can't do anything to it. However, set env. That means Linux has environmental variables, and we're using Python 3. So we can, let's see here. If there isn't a Python path, oh, that's not what I meant, sorry. All right, there's no Python path. We can set a Python path because we have permission. And we'll set it as root. That means we'll run the whole thing as root. Okay, so that's good to know. So now, looking over my notes, making sure. Okay, so now let's look at hasher.py. So I'm a VI lady. Here we go. Interesting. Import hashlib. Let's see. Hashing MD5. Oh, okay. Hashlib.md5. So it's calling a function from the hashlib library. Okay. It's also calling, looks like another one. All right. And let's see here. And the third one. All right. Very good. So here's our main. So it asks, enter a password to hash, and it will call the function hashing, and it will send it your password that you entered. So it goes up here, and it will encode the password in MD5. It encodes the password in SHA-256. It encodes the password in SHA-1. All right, very good. And as you can see, again, it's read-only. So let's see here. Oh, come on. I just wanted to quit. Yeah, I know. Okay. And if we can even do, oh, I guess we'll need sudo, right? User bin, Python 3, home, hazel, hasher.py. When we run this, we will be running it as root. Hello world. All right, and there's our hashes. All right, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So what we can do when we can set the environment, and we know that hasher.py is calling a library, and the room's name means library, then we know we can hijack the library. So we can go, let's see here. Let's go our VI. And actually, I can't remember what it was. Is it hashlib? Yeah, okay. VI hashlib.py. All right, new file. Here we go. So yes, you can make it a reverse shell and call it back to yourself, to your attack machine. Great, no problem. I like to do it classic, or I like to do it, the way I did it was I just imported my PTY. I say classic because when you're working on spawning TTY shells, this is the standard Python code for it. If you've done any of that before, you'll recognize it. So I've imported PTY, pty.spawn, and I am just going to spawn a bash shell. All right. Right. That is why. Fine. Fine. All right. So I'm going to go into the temp folder. And here, I can even do it like this if I wanted to. Echo import pty semicolon pty dot spawn bin bash. Oh, sorry. And that's going to be hash lib. And don't forget the .py. Right? So there's hashlib.py. Oh, lsla. All right. Also, we want to make sure we make it executable. So it can run. All right. And we do lsla. Oh, no, that's what I meant. Cat. All right, and there's our code. If we wanted to try, check it out to make sure you don't have any errors, you can just run python 3 hashlib.py, and you spawned a shell, right? And exit. See what I did? It looks exactly the same because we haven't switched users or anything. We're just Hazel, so we just opened a shell within a shell. The only reason you can tell that it worked is that you hit exit and it didn't quit and go back to Smoky. It went back, it exited, and it's back to Hazel, right? It's back to the first Hazel shell. Okay, so it's all set up. There we go. And now, let's do this. So, we are going to run sudo. All right. Set in here. I'm going to make sure I know how to do this. So I've done this a couple of times before. I'm blanking on the exact commands. So just go to Google. Let's see here. We go set environ Python. Oh, near. What I like to do is pin testing set envar and maybe put in a Python. Okay. Here we go. Set environment is the tool that can change. Oh yeah, this is a good one. In the article, we will demonstrate a method of escalating privileges on Linux-based devices by exploiting Python libraries and scripts. Okay, that's great. So here we go. Hey, Python path, environmental variable. That's exactly what we want. We want method 3 here. Let's scroll down here. Method 3, boom. Went to temp, we did that, right? We've made our hashlib. Okay. So, okay, here we go. We just need sudo python path equals temp, and then we do our hard-coded what we found in our sudo.l. All right, that's what I thought. This is so python path equals temp. And if you remember, we had user, I believe it was Ben, Python 3, and that was for home, Hazel, hasher.py. And boom, there we go. We are clearly root, and we have the pound sign for victory, and we can go cd root, and boom, there's our root.txt. Oops. All right, and my haste, I forgot the user.txt, but once you are Hazel, you can get it. If you scroll back up here, if you see user.txt is Hazel, once you switch to Hazel, you can get the user.txt. I'm going to submit this to the TryHackMe site, and they've asked to not post any flags, so I wouldn't have catted the file anyway. But again, once you become Hazel, you can get your user.txt, and then you use your set env to set your Python path to the temp directory, which has your hijacked library waiting for you, and then you just write down exactly what was in the sudo -l, and that gives you your root, and then you can just cat your root.txt. Thank you for watching my video walkthrough. I hope you learned something. I hope things were more clear for you, and I hope you check out some of the other videos that I plan on doing in the future. Thank you very much, and happy flag hunting.